Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News.
What's going on? 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 I am excited. I'm sad. I'm happy. I want to cry. We've come to the end of your Survivor News, covering season 47. We're covering the season finale of the episode, the season. I'm so excited to be here with my brother, my best friend, Wendell Holland. Extreme
How we
Home
doing?
Extreme Home Makeover is premiering January 2nd on ABC. Check the DVRs.
Yes,
Is it?
please.
Yes. When DZ was popping.
I'm good, man. I'm exhausted from the last 2 nights, but we are here and we're ready to get it in.
Excited. And we couldn't do Survivor News without the man, the myth, the people's general to the Jack Army, Jack Atkins. You might know him from The Circle. Season 2 was popping, Jack.
What's up, Bryce? What's up? How we doing?
I am great. I'm excited to be here. And I was once on Survivor a time or two ago, and I've met a lot of amazing people in the Survivor community. And there are some people that you connect with, you say hi, bye to, and there are some real people that show up for you in real ways and support you and love on you. And they happen to be beautiful, they happen to be talented, and they happen to be doing a outfit of the day. Are you doing an outfit of the day on TikTok of your Christmas outfits? I don't think
I'm hoping
you
were talking about me, because if not, it's going to be really awkward when I say hi.
Listen, I'm so excited to have the queen, Lauren O'Connell from Survivor Edge of Extinction, her first time on the podcast. What's going on, Lauren?
I'm so excited to be here. This is so fun. I feel like we've tried a couple times, and this is like the best episode to be a guest on. So I feel really special, especially after that intro.
Whew. It's been a season. So we're honored to have you. Wendell and I just got back from the season finale of the BWP Tour 47.
How was it?
And
y'all were in New York again, right?
We were in Manhattan for Tuesday night for our welcome party, and we ended in Brooklyn for the season finale. Wendell, how would you say the season finale was?
It was a great finale. It was a great event, and it was a great event with a great actual episode and winner and everything. So I'm happy to be with the three.
Wait, that's so fun.
Yeah, we had the squad in there.
It was literally a sea of humanity of the amount of people, Lauren and Jack, that came out.
I feel like there always is. I've never been to one of your parties where I wasn't like trying to elbow my way through to say hi to you guys.
Well, I wasn't elbowing my way. I was squeezing by. But there were just so many amazing people. And I do want to just take some time to shout out. I met one of the posse members. Her name was Caitlin, and she has been listening to Survivor News. Her and her husband, they love us. They get into the arguments. And how I knew that they were a posse member, Jack, was after we were saying goodbye, her husband was like, I'm a member of the Jack Shack, but listen, I'm not done, Jack. He said, don't say nothing to Jack because I don't want his head to get any bigger. I said,
damn. Well, there's plenty of room in the shack. So shout out to Caitlin, but I mean, just calling him Caitlin's husband, we got to put some more respect on his name. So
yeah, we do. But there was just so much magic in the air. We had so many survivors, so many Big Brother, so many Love Island, so many Squid Game, so many Circle, so many amazing human beings in the building.
It was a great event. We had like 450 people at Berry Park, Brooklyn. It was a sea of humanity.
A huge venue.
Yeah, 2 floors. So we had a big roof and a big first floor, and we had Joey Hatch and DJ Caution on the 1s and 2s. So
love them.
No,
Bryce, what was that photo you just put up?
Wait.
Is that the
So-
best photo you got from the event?
So listen, it was a lot
It's gotta
going
be a
on.
video, right? It's
It-
not a video. Oh, I just assumed it was a video and it like accidentally paused. That's the picture.
So, do you guys ever have a good night and you think you taking a photo and then you go back and look and it's like, what was I doing?
That's the picture you chose.
Listen, Lauren, it was a long night. A lot was happening.
Listen,
It's been
you are
a
a bravest
long-
soldier being here right now.
It was a long season, but before we get even into the episode, you know, the BWP Tour 47 we've had 10 stops. This is our biggest tour ever. If you go to a black church, sometimes they do like a praise report. And so I want to just give Survivor News a praise report that Wendell and I have completed 10 cities. We have not had a fight during the cities, and I'm very happy. However, although we didn't have fights during our tour stops, last weekend, our friendship was tested. Wendell and I got into when you fight with somebody, how you fight, you just don't talk. We had an uphill battle last weekend, and because I'm just being real and transparent, and I just want to just take the time to appreciate Wendeezy because he's not always right and I'm not always wrong. But I think the thing that I love the most about Wendeezy is no matter how big the fight is, no matter how dramatic the one of us might be, and it's not me.
I was dramatic this time. I said our friendship has changed.
No matter what words we have, Lauren, the thing that I really do love the most about Wendeezy is after the next day.
When he realizes that you were right.
No, because I wasn't even going to call him the next day.
The next day, Lauren, because this has happened, we've been friends going on 6 years at this point now. The very next day after a fight, he always picks up the phone. And I appreciate that. And we do talk it through.
I pick up the phone when it rings, but I will not pick up the phone to call him.
Stand your ground. Stand your ground. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to let that slide because, listen, the ice is still very thin, but I do appreciate Wendeezy because I feel like I'm a special kind of person and it takes a lot to understand me, and I appreciate you. And this tour has been epic, and so I just want to start it off with an appreciation to my very good friend.
Well,
now also,
what?
Go ahead. Okay, because I want to talk about something else to Lauren and Jack. But any response, Wendeezy, real quick?
My only response is I don't even remember why we were fighting, but I was in the right in that case, and I appreciate you, my friend Bryce.
I can't tell if you guys are making up or still fighting.
It's touch and go.
We're good. If you remind me of what the fight was about, then I'll probably be mad again. But we had a good few days, so we're good.
Now, Lauren and Jack.
Uh-oh.
I was minding my business this morning in my bed after I walked. Never mind. After I had to go to the lobby and come back up to my room. But after I had my space to myself, I'm doing a peruse on the internet and I'm seeing new couple alert. I'm like, oh my God, who's in a relationship? Can y'all believe that the rumor mill? I'm sorry, Wendell. Well, breaking news. Wendell's in a new relationship per the BWP.
Sue.
You saw it on TikTok.
I'm gonna be so real with you. I was like, who? I was a little bit nervous you were gonna throw me out there, and I was like, how did I not see this? And how did I not miss who I'm in a relationship with? Because it has happened to me on Reddit before. But I'm so glad it wasn't me, and I'm so happy for you, Wendell. That's so exciting. Congratulations.
I last night I saw that when I was really drunk, and I commented on it like. Why did you say about my boy? Like some shit like that. I don't even remember. Like I laughed
extremely hard. It was
Wendell,
fantastic.
he can't even catch a break. Wendell can't even walk into his own party, and someone at the party recorded it, put it on TikTok. We know the name, but I'll keep it cute today. And they said Wendell and Sue in a new relationship, and
No way they were serious.
I think it was. All the comments were like, "Classic Wendell." And I had to come in there, get the fingers warm and defend.
Oh my gosh, I'm so about to comment and be like, I'm so excited for him. I'm so glad it's finally out there. Biggest secret I've had to keep.
Yeah,
absolutely. Oh no, I'm 100% going on there and commenting that. I'm fueling that fire.
Wait, Lauren, why I'm so pissed? It's like, why didn't I release that video?
No, for sure.
I mean, Bryce, you've seen me and Sue out and about, you know, so like you could have had the breaking news. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, but that
listen, congratulations. So funny. What did you comment on it?
I said kind of wild you attend the party that they work hard to host and then throw out some crazy rumors.
You're no fun.
I thought
I've seen Wendell go through the ringer, and I gotta put a stop to this.
All right, well, I'm about to go comment and be like, Jack, shut up. We all know it's true.
You know what? I love that we have both Jack, who I love, and he's gonna hold me down, and Lauren, you, who we love so much, and you're just gonna talk trash. I love it. So I'm here for both sides. Because now
that's a fantastic video. I laughed way more than I should have at it. And had I known that it was okay to comment, I would immediately.
Mind you, it is crazy though, because it's like Wendell in the video is going in to tell Sue, like, hey, like, we're going this way, but you do go in kind of slow, and Sue's neck does like.
Yo, you know what? I was telling Bryce, we just walked in again. We said 450 people.
Sorry.
Oh, I thought.
My phone is vibrating on the table.
I thought Sue was calling.
Oh, we just walked in, and we got to make sure Sue had plus 30. So we had to make sure
Sue.
Her entourage got to the VIP.
You were meeting the family? That's so funny.
Her daughter was there.
I met the family. I met her daughter. I met everybody. And so anyway, me and my new family, we were walking to the VIP section, and I guess someone spotted Sue and I, you know, telling each other how much we love each other, and they put it on the internet.
These kids these days can't be trusted with those iPhones, so gotta be careful.
They cannot.
Thanks, Bryce.
But I'm complicit. Okay, hashtag Bryce is complicit.
I'm so glad I had seen that TikTok before this, because had I not, I mean, I was a little nervous about what you were about to say because I did not know what direction I was going in, and I'm really glad that I was in on that joke.
I got you, boo. Well, listen, we got all of the particulars out. Jackery, take us home for the final moderation of season 47.
Wow, it's bittersweet. But Bryce, I do want to give a quick report from the West Coast. I mean, you guys were holding it down on the East Coast. Lauren and I held it down out in LA. And it was no Bryce and Wendell, but it was a good time. And I gotta say, a lot of the 47ers, people I didn't expect, said Survivor News is their favorite Survivor podcast. So I just had to share that report with you guys, and just throw that out there. And thanks to anyone, Survivor player or not, who's been listening. But yeah, this was a great finale to what's up, Wendell?
I was just gonna say that's what they call Survivor News, your favorite Survivor's favorite podcast.
Exactly.
Just saying.
I do also have to say, Jack, there were a lot of people coming up to me saying, from our last episode, I think you and I were saying to the posse, we need a posse member on season 49. And I got about 10 people coming up to me saying, like, it's going to be me. So if you spoke to me last night, I hope it is you.
Let's make it happen.
Oh, let's go.
49 or 48?
49.
Because 48.
48. Well, I mean, if you know, you know. But I mean,
yeah. No. I'm tracking. I was just wondering.
Was in the building in Brooklyn, but you ain't hear that from me.
Relax yourself, Bryce Isaiah.
Yeah, what a great finish to a great season. I don't even know where to get into it, but it was a hell of an episode. It was a battle at Final Tribal Council too, and Rachel well deserving. I don't even know, where do you guys want to start? It was a little bit different than past finales. You know, we start right at 4 and get into that epic challenge, and then the fire making, which was also wild. What stuck out to you guys? Where should we start? I don't know.
Well, I got a question. Do we like that it's a 2-part finale? Now that we've seen what's happened, do we like that we had this, 2 hours and 2 hours? Because when I was watching this one, as soon as Rachel won that immunity challenge, I'm like, game over. So I'm kind of glad that they saved it for this portion, because I don't know. That was my take.
I'm with you. I think when we have the 3-hour finale, sometimes it's like, give it to me quick. Like,
bring somebody back that hasn't played in a minute. Make it 6, final 6 instead of final 5. Really fill that finale, right?
Right.
Neither
Like, it's like,
following me.
I don't know. I think I am, but I don't know.
No, it was a joke. It was a joke because it was so interesting that there were 4 people in this finale, and I was joking about the fact that my finale had six of us, or 6 and then 5 and then 6 again. But I feel like since I was on it, which feels like a lifetime ago, they're just showing so much more of the personal stories, and so cutting it into 2 parts let us see, I think, more of the personal journey that final 3 had, and feel a little bit more connected to them. I don't know if you guys felt this way, but going into the final 3, I was like, I care about all 3 of these people. Like, I think in their heads, all 3 of them believe they can win. I think that they're going to give a good personal story. And so I think cutting it into 2 allowed us to see that, versus kind of stuffing so much into a finale and getting to the final 3 and being like, oh, okay, they won.
As far as the pacing went, I wasn't mad at it. But the one thing for me was that, like you said, Wendell, when going into this finale, it was sort of like, okay, if Rachel doesn't lose fire making or the challenge or whatever, we can kind of assume she's going to win. So I feel like had they saved that final 5 as part of this finale with Genevieve's exit, there would have been a little bit more intrigue going in of like the Genevieve versus Rachel showdown. Like, Genevieve has a good shot to win. Rachel has a good shot to win. Sam's a dark horse. Plus, you think about like that epic final 6 tribal last week, having that final 5 being right after it, you kind of lose a little bit of that that you like are talking about the rest of the week. So I would have liked maybe that final 5 to be part of the finale. But as far as like, being at a finale watch party, I'm kind of glad we didn't have to sit through like 3 hours of Survivor, right? It was nice to have it split up. So kind of a double-edged sword.
I'll say this. I was right when Rachel won the immunity. I said, okay, give it $1 million, right? Like, I kind of was like over it in the sense that she was so deserving. However, I do want to give props to the editors, and just even maybe, should I say, the wind, because although I felt like the deal was sealed after Rachel won, that fire making challenge, in my opinion, had me on the edge of my seat. And that's kind of like the excitement that I needed and wanted for the episode. So although I didn't love it as a viewer, and of course I'm team Rachel, wanted Rachel to win, but I wanted some like, I don't know what's going to happen. What is it going to be? I felt like the win. So shout out to the
And Sam really brought it at the final tribal too. And that's actually something I want to ask you guys about, because I feel like you said, you gave some props to the editors. We were kind of sitting there thinking, is Sam going to pull out this win? Now, my question about that is, like, I feel like there has to be things that Rachel shared at Final Tribal Council that maybe weren't shown in order to make it a little bit less obvious. Do you guys want it to be like edited so that it's sort of up in the air? Or do you want to feel like, okay, Rachel ends up winning, I want to see everything that Rachel talked about to really win the jury over? Because I'm kind of split on it. Like,
it's a TV show, so they want it to be as suspenseful as possible and drama filled as they can to still tell like the story. So you want to see it, but you don't want to watch a landslide. You want to see you want there to be some idea. And even walking into this episode, I'm like, no, a Rachel win is too obvious. So, and we've seen Gabler do it, you know, so there's got to be something that's going to happen. So they got to tell, it's got to be an entertaining television show at the end of the day, if you ask me. And that's why they're going to bolster whoever's going to be second or even third, whatever. They're going to make sure that they look like they're giving this person some go.
I have a question for you guys, and I don't think we've ever talked about this, but I have an interesting kind of backstory to it. The final 4 fire making challenge, right? Rachel had an interesting comment about, I don't have to give the necklace up. Well, actually, let me backtrack. Jeff says, who are you going to make earn their spot in the final 4? Which I think is a really interesting way to word that. Rachel comes back and says, I don't have to give my necklace up to beat Sam because I've already earned my spot. So backtrack to 2018. I am sitting in Fiji at pregame the day before we are marooned. We watched your finale, Wendell. Yes. We watched your finale.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of commentary about how if he'd given the necklace up and he had competed in fire, which I'm telling you, I think changed the entire trajectory of our end game. I stand by it. I think there's no way that idea, not to discredit the move that Chris made on my season. Chris played a perfect game. Like, I think all survivors that get the most amount of jury votes deserve to win. I just want to make that very clear. However, the day before we are marooned, we see your finale. We see all this discourse surrounding, well, if he had given the necklace up to beat him in fire, then he probably would have won.
Yeah.
And I think that I think that I mean, I know that that's the idea that was circulating around Edge of Extinction when the plan was kind of devised, right? So my question for you is, do you think that the idea that someone has to earn their way into the final 4 through fire is the way to word that? Or is it, and do you think that changes the way the jury sees that third jury member? Or is it you lost, so you have a chance to save yourself. Good luck. Because I don't think at all that the person who wins that final immunity challenge should ever feel like, unless they played an absolutely terrible, terrible game. I get it. It's the last thing that the jury members see. But if you've had a game like Rachel, right? Why do you feel like you need to give that necklace up just to prove something? So that's my question for you. Is I know you have a really interesting experience with that. So
what's the question? Just kidding. No. But to that, first of all, Chris Underwood, because he had such a limited time in the game and because Rick Devens was still there, you got to swing for the fences and everything you can.
Totally. Yeah.
And, like, he made every perfect move at the end.
Absolutely.
Speaking about Ghost Island, I think if Dom would have relinquished that necklace, I think. Do
you think obviously he needed to in order to beat you, right? But how much of
he got he got as close as you can. Like, if the wind would have, like, if he would have relinquished it and taken me out at fire or whatever would have happened at fire, then he's sitting at the end with Angela and Laurel and he wins.
Yeah. Right.
If he would have relinquished it and just taken, or let me go to the end and maybe beat an Angela, maybe that's another tick on his resume. And
do you feel like that discredits you? Do you feel like that discredits you because now he's given you this way into final? I just think it's a really interesting conversation.
Okay. So, if you're asking me if Dom wins, takes it off, gives it to, lets me walk to final and he goes and beats someone.
Yeah.
I think that makes me look a little weaker. It's like, yo, man, go ahead. I'm gonna beat you tomorrow night. And what happened in 45? Did D send Austin right to the final 2? What happened? Because I'm thinking like when you put someone there, it's like, all right, you can beat them. So in my case, it would be like Dom is putting me there. He can beat me. And then I feel like recently we saw something like that. So to your point, I think it would make the jury think like, dag, like this guy is very confident in himself, and he thinks that that person maybe not be a layup, but might just be someone like that he could just beat. Applying that to this.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Keep going.
Applying that to this season. First of all, Rachel's game speaks for itself. She's a beast. You don't need to prove anything else. She should have won that. So what would we do in that situation? She wouldn't have to take anything off. Like she wouldn't. Yeah, there's no, but also when it comes to like earning your way in, I do think it's hey, y'all lost, and now it's like, all right, one of you losers beat the other to get to sit at the end. And that was me. I was one of the losers that had to beat the other to sit at the end. But fortunately, I had a strong game to go with me losing that Final Four challenge.
Yeah, I don't think it's a one size fits all ever, obviously, but I do think it's really interesting to have someone like Sam, right? He gets to have this big win in front of the jury. It's the last thing they see because they don't see the final immunity challenge. Right. They don't see whatever happened that Rachel had to do in order to win that immunity necklace that's giving her the same journey to the final three that Sam is relatively getting, right? They're both getting there by winning something, but the jury gets to see the final four.
That's a great
fire
point.
making challenge. And so it's like the last thing they see before they have
them
to
being
vote.
Triumphant. Them doing something that looks strong. And
so this is so interesting, right? Because it's like I feel like Rachel gave Sam an extra right? Because like the thought is if she would have brought Sam with her, like, do you think that would have changed anything from the jury?
He only got one vote anyway, right?
Yeah, right. So that's very interesting because I really think like him beating it in fire kind of adds a little more like to his game.
And that's what I'm saying is I think that the person who wins fire, that is the last thing the jury is seeing. They don't get to see that final immunity challenge. And so it's like, I think, I mean, obviously it's not the same for every season. And Rachel had a fantastic game, but I just think it's such an interesting way to listen to Jeff word it as earn your way into the final three. Right. Because yes, you are, but I really feel like it discredits that person who wins the final four immunity challenge.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up because I think there's a lot of different things to talk about with it. I agree. Like, I think, at least in my mind, and it feels like a lot of, especially more like the modern Survivor players, is that you shouldn't really care that much about fire, right? If you already have the best resume, it shouldn't affect things. Like if Rachel shouldn't have to give up the immunity. But like you said, nobody sees the immunity challenge, but you do see somebody inevitably succeeding in fire. And sometimes that, now I agree with giving up the necklace if it's like, okay, Wendell's gonna win the game and I'm the only one who can beat him in fire. I have to give up the necklace and take him out in fire. But in any other circumstance, I don't think you need to. The interesting thing you guys also brought up is like that idea of, right, so inevitably, even if someone says they don't care about fire, just seeing someone triumph might be a small nudge in any sort of direction. And so then it's like, I remember Xander said that in 41, he brought Erica with him to the end and made Deshaun and Heather make fire because he was actually the most scared of Erica winning. And so he thought, hey, like instead of, if I bring her to the end, don't give her that chance to shine, I think I might be able to beat her. But if I let her make fire and she wins, then she might be able to edge me out. And so just that idea of bringing someone to the end and not giving them that moment is also very interesting. But I think Rachel played it totally fine. Like, to me, you shouldn't feel like you have to make fire. It literally is just that, just making fire. Like, it's not that impressive of a thing. You're on Survivor, right? Like, but
do you make fire, Jack?
I might be in the Sam situation where, but if I was out there for 26 days, I feel pretty good about the fact that I would be able to make a fire. I'm a good fire builder. I haven't experimented.
26 ain't that long, Jack.
Oh,
it's in the new era. That's all you need.
I
agree with you, but I mean, I'll stay an extra 13 and just hang out. Yeah, it was surprising me how underprepared Sam was, but he had that dog in him and clutched it out. But
so that was another question, and maybe I was one margarita in. Was he really underprepared, or was he just like saying that to say that?
He was underprepared.
I think he was underprepared.
Yeah. But
how
also,
many times while y'all were out there, how many times did you personally make the fire for your camp?
I was out there for a total of 9 days. I was a part of. We didn't get flint.
And it's not a hateful question. It's genuinely like there are
no.
people that just didn't ever make the fire for their camp. There are people that's just like wasn't what they did. So if he was out there for 26 days, he might not have ever made or however long he was out there. You know what I mean?
Out there, they call me Lil Wayne because I was the fireman. Okay, like I was a part of helping get the fire started, and I kept the fire going. So I was very prepared.
You were ready.
Well, that is not even to disagree with you, right? It's just like I see why that's a good question because you might get the fire started day one with the flint. Someone does that. But as long as it's still going, then you're just adding fuel to it. You're just adding.
It's not that simple.
It's not that simple.
It's not that simple.
Like,
especially if you're going to tribal as many times as my tribe did. That is a strategy game to keep that thing going while you're gone.
You keep it going. You're adding.
But you can't though. But
it might not be the act of like scraping the flint. That I don't know how many times that would happen because it's like you might get it and keep it going for days, and then you can be tending to the fire, adding sticks, poking things around, but you might not have that practice of like.
But well, Jack, this the last episode, Jack. But what I'm about to say is, giving the fire sticks and feeding the fire is a very respectable job. It takes a lot. Okay, but diminishing. You just diminished.
Well, but I'm saying it's a respectable job. But if all you've done the whole season is fuel the fire, but you've never practiced with the flint, then obviously you're going to be unprepared.
So are you trying to fuel my fire right now?
I did not mean to start this. I was.
This isn't an argument.
They trying to diminish somebody's work and reputation.
Well, Bryce, if you add a bunch of sticks to a fire,
you ain't adding sticks. Oh my god!
Fire.
Everyone be an island with you.
Bryce, you can't just be like, well, for the fire making challenge, I just want to add the sticks. I don't want to. You got to do the other part too.
But also, at the fire making challenge, you need to add the sticks at the right time.
Building the fire is just as important as getting that
about
flame.
It, Lauren.
Well, listen, building that fire is just because you can get a flame, but I'm telling you that thing's gonna go quick.
Talk about it, Lauren.
Correctly, I'm just throwing that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to argue with anyone. No, because step one is being able to light the fire, and then
Lauren,
you gotta worry about the rest of it after.
You haven't been here for weeks, but Jack has turned into a different animal. Okay, Lauren, Jack has 3 people in the comments that agree with Jack, and 2 of the people are Jack. And now all Jack.
One of them's my mom.
I'm setting straight.
And one of the biggest Jack supporters in the comments, their name is Q
Jack's mama.
Yeah, Q Jacks. So
wait, this wasn't meant to be a hot take. All I'm saying is, if you haven't practiced lighting the flint, you might not be ready for the fire making challenge. But is that crazy?
So we're clear though. I practiced. I helped start our original fire, and for the remainder 2 days that I was there, I kept it going.
I was saying was not diminishing about anything about you. I'm saying maybe Sam was there and throughout his time on the island was helping, keep that fire going. But if he hadn't ever been the one to start it, then you're gonna have a hard time starting a fire if you've never done that step,
True. Now, when's the last time you started a fire, Jack?
I've started a couple fires, but usually I have like I don't have
a lighter,
or like a
match,
or a match, match, and maybe like a fire starting log. But I can build a good fire. Don't get me wrong. But if you threw me in a fire making challenge right now, I've never really used a flint, so that's why I'd have to practice a little bit.
Lauren, before you went out, did you practice fire?
Once or twice, maybe. Listen, I was like the most underprepared person, most naive person going into the show ever. Oh, you need to understand, I had about, they told me last week of April, and I left May 23rd. So I had like 4 weeks to graduate from college, move out of Baylor, move home, get my stuff ready for Georgetown, figure out what the heck I was going to do with like clothing and all. Like I had very little time, and I was like, oh, it's going to be great. So very little practice with the fire, but I did make the fire quite a few times while actually on our tribe.
Now, so
but-
because Jack is here, did you make it or did you just add sticks to an already going fire? So we're clear.
That's a great question, Bryce. Thank you.
I did make it. I did make it. But I will say, shout out to Kelly Wentworth, which I've never ever been on a Survivor podcast in my life and not talked about Kelly Wentworth, so we had to get it in somewhere. But she like 24/7 is making sure that fire is going throughout the night. And I would like, there's something about waking up freezing, seeing that your fire has gone out, that makes you really appreciate the people that put the sticks on the fire, Jack.
That's real.
That
was dumb.
in that same token, because that's what I thought going out on Cagayan. If I keep that fire going, they would appreciate a girl. They would show a girl love. I wish I would have let that mother go out, because
let him freeze.
That was one of my tactics. I was constantly in the middle of the night getting up, and I'm like, "Ooh, they're gonna be like, we gotta keep Bryce because he's keeping the fire going." And random fact, I used to go to the well in the morning and in the afternoon, and I would fill up everybody's water.
They did not deserve you. They did not deserve you. You were too good for them.
Those MFers.
All right, I got a question about the fire. We saw Teeny with the wind issue, and we saw Sam with sitting right next to her. He didn't have as bad of a wind issue. Should Teeny have rotated her body to the side where the wind was, blocking the wind?
But can you do that?
Yes,
I'm gonna be so honest. I was so confused how the wind was only hitting hers. And
her fire was getting in the wind.
No, for sure. It literally looked like, I was like, what's happening? I clearly do not understand weather in the slightest, because it didn't look like the wind was hitting his at all, or it looked like it was coming the opposite way. I'm like, what's going on? We had so much wind on my season that they did it up in the voting booth. So we didn't even see the fire making challenge. We just like heard Jeff narrate it.
All right.
Which is crazy. But Jeff was just narrating it because there was so much wind. Did the wind start halfway through? Because it looked like her fire was going for so long. I don't know if that's how they edited it, but it looked like it was hitting that rope for so long.
Yeah, it looked like that. Maybe they wanted the drama this time. Maybe they were like, there's some wind. We're going to see it play out.
I also feel like on these first time seasons, you even saying that, Wendell, she moved her body. I feel like when I was out there, I was like, whatever they say, you got to do. And so like, I feel like there could have been a part of production saying like, sit here and build your fire. That would have never crossed my mind to get up and like block the wind with my body.
That's such a good point, because they're super young, correct? 23.
Yeah.
While I was watching this finale, I was thinking about that because I was 21 when I was on it. I was thinking about how differently I would play now, because I think because I was so young, and Jeff said it in, I guess, the reunion or whatever they call it now, about how just life experience, it does impact your game. And I remember him telling me that when I was 21, I was like, I had like 4 surgeries on my knee. I played college soccer. Like, I'm good. I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I would play so differently now because I have so much more of my like identity formed. I question things more. I feel more comfortable in my own skin, and I feel able to like make decisions based on what I think is best versus just listening to someone. So I think it's such a good point, Bryce, to say, okay, maybe they're just sitting there being like, this is what I have to do. I can't make a change to what they've told me, versus you, Wendell, who's like, I can do whatever the heck I want.
Right.
100%. That whole like, I looked at when I was on, I was 33, and I told myself after that season, I'm like, man, if I would have gotten on in my 20s, I would have played a totally different game. And I'm so glad that I got on at this stage in life, because
how many
it's like,
times did you apply prior to that?
Quite a few times, and you only applied once with a 30-second video, and you made it 9 days.
That was hateful for a reason.
You see how nasty he is during the holiday time?
Yeah, I really like that.
During the holiday time.
I really love that.
It's
I only applied once too, Bryce.
Okay.
Got called the next day.
But it's not so much about how many times.
But I'm also a loser.
Well, so, as am I, and as am Jack. But it's not.
Come on, man.
It's Lauren. It's not about how many times Wendell has applied. It's the fact that I've seen 13 of the videos, and when I say Lauren, they are bad. Like there's one video where Wendell used to clerk in a courthouse, and like for the first 2 minutes of the video, with clerk.
First 2 minutes.
That's the
How
girl.
long are the videos?
I said
Well,
what
like 57 seconds.
The first 2 minutes of the video is Wendell walking into the courtroom. He sets the phone up,
Nice.
and then he's like, "Hi, my name is Wendell Holland. I'm sitting in a courtroom." I was like, "What the?"
I was in the jury box, and I told them that I'm not going to be in a jury box.
Listen, we can make fun of you because you won and we didn't. Let us have it.
Right.
Let us have
But
it.
Lay it
girl,
on me.
he spent 2 minutes walking in,
Shut
set
up.
the camera
Was that the one
up.
that got you cast?
No, clearly no.
You could tell.
I can't imagine why.
You could
you know
tell he
what?
thought it
I
was
don't
going to
understand.
eat though, because he set the camera down. Then he walked in the jury box and was like,
Shut
"My
up.
name's Wendell Holland.
All right, can we?
As you can see."
This
Okay, sorry.
this is not a roast. We're here to talk about
Sorry, you're
Rachel's
right.
win. Thank you.
Mm.
Oh yeah,
Do you feel like she got a winner's edit?
I
think so.
did.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Because let's be clear. There have been seasons that, in my opinion, when we say winner's edit, there have been older seasons where from day one,
Mhm.
they are shining a light on someone, and it's like very, look at them. And I don't say Rachel got a winner's edit, right? I feel like there were peaks and valleys. Now I feel like towards the beginning there were a lot of valleys. However, at the end there were peaks, and when she peaked, it was peaky, not peekaboo, not peak. No, what is it? Peekaboo. It wasn't peekaboo. It was just peak.
I have another follow-up question. What do you think her most impressive move was?
Okay.
Game was some good questions.
So my point blank period.
I can't wait.
When she utilized
There it is.
her
Shot in the dark.
shot in the dark to gauge them MFers on their body language and moves, for me, she sold me. Like that, like for me, that was very impressive.
Yeah. We didn't really get to see her talk about though. That's kind of talk about that though. That was kind of like what I was like referring to. Is that was such a great move, and we didn't hear her elaborate on it at all. But I agree. It was a great move.
They gave us breadcrumbs like when she tried to steal rice.
Yeah.
And then you get her making that shot in the dark move. If she's not the winner, I don't think they take so much attention showing us how much time she took with it and her like looks. They might have shown it briefly or something, but like they really fed that portion to us. So you got the rice, you got that, and then she goes on these immunity runs and like wins when she has to win, takes out freaking Genevieve, who is such a strong player. To me, it's like she in the new era, this is what we call a winner's edit from my perspective.
Yeah,
for sure.
I felt that she was going to. I mean, I didn't think there was any chance she didn't win after they showed her playing her idol. And the reason I say that is because, and this isn't to discredit the move at all or what she had done, but would have been nice if someone had told me, and every single person on my tribe had told me, "Hey, we're voting for you tonight." You know what I mean? And I had an idol and nobody knew about it. Like, I'm not saying that I understand holding on to the idol. There's so many things that go into that play working and making her a great player, right? But I think they really, really made that play so important and made her like they showed her creeping up on them listening as if you know they weren't about to just tell her the next day, hey, we're voting for you, fam, you got to play your idol. Not that they knew, but I felt like had she not been the winner, it would have just been like, yeah, I think I'm going home, and she would have played her idol. Do you disagree?
I agree. I also feel like for me, one of her biggest strengths or one of her biggest moves that's not necessarily a move is she never got comfortable. I feel like season after season, we always see there's the moment, or maybe not even a moment, where the editors are asking you questions and you give them that like, I'm good, Jack leaving the night, right? Like, I feel like she was cognizant enough to know this whole time that whether or not she's in a good position or not, like, I gotta keep fighting. I have to, like, I gotta keep shaking the table. And I felt like she's been shaking the table and trying to figure out how to continue to just stay alive. And I think like that's really her greatest move for me.
I feel like I need to preface this because I think she is phenomenal. I think her game was amazing. Listening to her talk about things, listening to the way that she was looking at the game, just so impressive, fantastic. But how much of you saying we never heard her get comfortable do you think is the editors? Because there is for sure one confessional I personally remember of myself being like, I will actually jump off a roof if they play this because so embarrassing. And they didn't play it. And it was one of those moments where I was like, oh my, like just really feeling myself, thought it was awesome. I would have looked like an idiot. And I think the reason they didn't show it was because they had to show why Chris playing how he did was so important. Like there were reasons why I think that wasn't shown. So I'm just wondering if you really think she was never feeling comfortable, or if there were moments where she felt comfortable and we just didn't see it.
I don't think I think she's the person that never got comfortable.
Yeah.
I really do. And
did she ever have a chance to feel comfortable?
Right. That's the other thing. Eyes were on her. And
all the time.
And yeah, she was a head and shoulders above a lot of players. It's like if you get like they're coming for you. You can't, you have no
which is kind of not a nice place to be, but at least there is a sense of urgency. There's a sense of needing to win. And I think that helps. I think it helps so much. I think the second that you ever feel like you have the next day figured out is the day that you go home.
Yep. Is this a good analogy? Does this make sense? Sometimes when you're at work, right, you don't really want it to be busy. Like you want it to be slow. But when it's slow, the time goes by super slow. However, when you're at work and it happens to be a busy day, the time, like, you hate that it's busy, but like at the end of the day, it's like, wait a minute, it's 5 o'clock already. See y'all hoes. Like, I feel like some part of that can be applied to like Rachel feeling like I always have to like, they always coming for me.
I think a big thing about Rachel's game too is like, and we talked about it a little bit in the past, is she did get lucky in a lot of ways, but that's part of the game. And I always felt like her read on things was always very accurate. I always felt like whatever was thrown her way, whether it was something that was lucky or unlucky or whatever, she would like read and react very strategically. And so I just felt like it was really a masterclass almost on New Era Survivor because, you know, I miss those flashy like Tony Vlachos wins, but I think in the new era, everyone's so sharp that we're not going to have like a Woo taking Tony to the end and letting Tony win. It's people always are kind of more aware these days of what the pecking order is. And so if you want to have like a strong game, you got to look at Rachel's because she kept like a low threat level, made some moves behind the scenes and wasn't always being flashy until she had to at the end, but was just taking information and just kind of moving smartly with it. And it's not going to be the flashiest. I mean, it kind of got flashy at the end when it had to be, but I just think that's how people have to position themselves. Because it's like we see, like whoever sticks their neck out too early, they get cut next, you know? So.
Well, question for you on that in that same breath. How important do you think it is for someone to have voted right throughout the game? Because Sam makes a comment about how he never got a vote wrong and how I think he said something along the lines of like Rachel never voting correctly. And I know like on my season, there was conversation about you never knew what was going on. You never knew what was going on. You just kind of got here somehow, which again, not for Rachel, but like on my season, that was a conversation of like, you never knew what was going on. You just got here versus someone who voted right every time. How important do you think that is?
But see, I also feel like that speaks to our point of you're back against the wall the whole game, right?
Totally.
Like if you're voting correctly the whole time, then that means like you just going with the numbers. I almost, and this is a nuance that I don't necessarily get, the obsession with wanting to vote right and be on the right side of the vote. For me, my obsession would be maintaining relationships, right? Like, yeah, I might have said your name.
Do you feel like it's an indicator of maintaining relationships though? Because if you're voting right, it means they've let you in on the plan and you were in on the majority. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, no,
right?
no,
I'm not making an opinion. I'm just saying that, do you think that maintaining relationships can be equivalent to voting correctly?
See, I also feel like, but sometimes in the game of life where it's like you ever walk up to a, let's say, water ice, maybe that's not a good, like a pretzel stand, right? And you see a long line and what do? You automatically get in the long, you get behind the person, but there's 3 windows. Like you don't want to walk up to the other window and discover that like, oh, it's open. Sometimes I feel like with voting, it's hard to actually tell because you could have a good relationship with you. I could have a good relationship with you, Lauren, but you gonna vote me out because Wendell and Jack are saying my name and you just want to, like, it's that follow the leader type of trend. So I feel like that's a hard indicator at times.
No, I agree because it's great to be in on the vote, right? But sometimes I like your analogy, Bryson, to throw like a similar analogy. It's like, okay, maybe there's one last seat at like the cool kids table and you want to jump in and be a part of that. But maybe there's another smaller table with some new people you can jump in with, and it might not be that main group, but maybe you can make a little bit more happen, right? Like sometimes there's people in the game who can just get in on the vote, but if you're never attempting to steer the vote, drive the car, then okay, you're on everything, but what did you really like piece together? And with Rachel, you know, she was out of the Annika vote. That was one of the votes early on, like so be it. And then I guess the other vote she was out on was the Operation Italy vote. But it's like at that point, she's a big threat. So there's going to be moves made against her. And so you can't really hold that against her. And then to Sam, I mean, he did a great job of being in on the vote. But, you know, he wasn't out of the Sierra vote because he didn't have a vote. But I think we could all say for all intents and purposes, he wasn't in on that vote, right? Like the vote got split on him. He very easily could have gone home. So if you think about post-merge incorrect votes, I'd basically say like, Sam was wrong on that one, and Rachel was wrong on like the Operation Italy. I don't know. It's great to vote, right? The problem is like what I was saying with the new era. If you can't spearhead every vote, right? So sometimes naturally you might, like in the olden days, Kim Spradlin could just tell her squad like what to do and lead every vote, and that was really impressive. But now, if you're trying to drive every vote, you're gonna get in trouble. So sometimes like you might have to be on the wrong side of one. It's just like how you recover it.
And also, like, you can get to the end of the game by either being on the right side of the vote and being dragged to the end, or being outside the vote and being someone that they're like, yo, we can sit next to this person at the end, or by being outside of some votes, but so good at the game, elusive, strong, and able to win challenges that they don't have an opportunity to take you out. It's like, all right, this person who was my adversary in the game is a strong freaking player, and they got to the end. All right, you were out of a few votes, but you didn't give us an opportunity to snipe you, and now you have a wonderful seat at the end.
And I guess another thing that makes me think about too, Lauren, I'm loving the questions because you're
yeah.
Right.
I haven't talked Survivor in like so long, so this is fun.
What I was gonna say is like maybe sometimes like maybe not being in on the vote can be more impressive than being on the vote.
That's what I was going to ask.
Like, okay, maybe you weren't in on the vote, but what you attempted to do was creative, or maybe it was the right move for you. And like, sure, it didn't work. Maybe you got blindsided, but your head was in the right place. Whereas someone might be in on the vote against their best interest just because they want to be part of what's going on. It's like, well, actually, maybe you should go branch out a little bit and shake things up instead of just being in on the vote.
But what stands out more?
That's exactly what I was going to ask, because Wendell said something so interesting. He said, well, if he's beast in challenges and they're winning all these things and we didn't give him a chance to snipe him, like it shows that you place value on winning challenges, on the physical aspect of Survivor versus, and I'm not saying you give it more credit than not, but I think that there are some people that wouldn't care if you won every immunity challenge if you did X, Y, and Z better. So it's like, is someone who was scrappy and won all these immunity challenges and was never in on the vote and was unable to, because I'm not saying this is true or not, but I think you can look at it from the perspective of was unable to strategize and outwit relatively other people. Is that more impressive than someone who didn't win a single immunity challenge, but was able to integrate themselves into different alliances and be brought in on strategy?
I don't think you could be one-dimensional and win the game. I don't think you could just be like great at challenges and win the game. And we've seen it. What wasn't it like Culpepper? Didn't he win like a bunch of challenges and not win or something? In Rachel's case, like she found stuff. She made things happen.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I don't think one-dimensional players can win. Or yeah.
I'm very much on the anti-challenge train of if you have to win all these challenges, then like clearly you're not in a very good social spot in the game. And if you don't have to win I guess when I respect them the most,
then that's kind of what Rachel had to do though.
Kind of, but it's like at that point when she has to do it late, and it's like the final 6, I can respect that a little bit more. But if you're doing it early on, then it's just like, all right. Like if you win them at the end and you're the biggest threat and that gets you to the end, I can respect it. Kind of like what Nick Wilson did in David versus Goliath. Like he wasn't a challenge piece, but at the end he got in the right spot, won out. The thing to me is using those challenge wins to, if I was a juror, the thing that I value the most is having great social relationships and utilizing those to have strategic agency. And so if you're winning immunity challenge, I would actually expect you, because you're not vulnerable, that you should actually have more agency. So a lot of times there's people that win a lot, but aren't really playing the game in any more, in a stronger way than anybody else. So I'm sort of like, well, if you're winning, but you're not utilizing your safety to make things happen, then you're actually kind of a worse player in my mind. I know that might be a hot because people love the challenge.
Question. Wait, can I be Lauren O'Connell and ask y'all a question? Because I love the question.
I know, sorry. I'm so interested.
No, wait. So in that same line of thought, can I ask y'all what y'all think about Mike Holloway's win? Because I felt like Mike Holloway is a winner that I feel like
had to.
And I don't want to say one-dimensional, but I want to say like I feel like Mike Holloway won his way to $1 million.
What season was that?
Correct.
That was like season
Worlds Apart.
Worlds Apart. So that was like season 31 or 30.
Right.
Well, they actually brought Mike Holloway up last night.
Yeah.
Andy and Rachel were saying that his win was not very good. And I would tend to agree. Like, I think Mama C was a better Survivor player than Mike Holloway.
Well, I'm going to go with Will.
That spectacle of like, winning all these challenges. Like some people are impressed by that, but I think, especially in the new era, I would guess the thinking. Like I think Mama C would probably win that final 3 more in the new era than
yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. Especially season 30, there was some characters, especially like literally one of the tribes, blue collar. They're gonna respect Mike just winning his way, right? But in the like, I think now that would be valued a little bit less because he was also just messy, right?
Can we talk about some emotional points of this episode? So there were 2 things that stuck with me. And well, I guess I'll go with Rachel first, but make sure I get back to my second other emotional one. There was something about Rachel bringing up Chrissy Hoffman. Kim, y'all know I say the names wrong because I was about to say Kim Spradlin, and her naming these trailblazing women leaders in Survivor that I just, even though I can't say they last names correctly, I loved and I respect. And it's like, not only has Rachel played an amazing game, she knows her history. She knows like the trailblazing ladies that have come before her. What were your thoughts on her bringing that up in this last episode?
I mean, it's cool to be a part of history. No, what interested me, and not to spin your question too, was
But you spin it.
Jeff was also really hyping her up for that, which I'm curious. It's a very small question, but I'm sort of like, and obviously you want to give someone their flowers for being in the record books, but at the same time, was Jeff just like kind of hyping her up too much, right? If I'm Sam and I'm sitting there, I'm like, Jeff, chill with this. Like, don't give her too much credit.
Yeah, is he still is he remaining neutral?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, are you? Yeah.
What you think, Lauren?
I love anytime that we get to reference female Survivor players that have done something so incredible, because having never won an immunity challenge in my life, can confirm that they are difficult. Never won a puzzle. Like, they're hard. And I think that the fact that she can win four is such a huge feat. And I think that it deserves to be celebrated. I see what you're saying, Jack, and was he hyping her up too much? Maybe, but when was the last person that did that?
Yeah.
How many seasons was that ago? I mean, it was a long time. And so I just think it's like, to have a female player win 4 immunity challenges it's a huge deal. And I think that you're exhausted, you're tired. And I think that there is an emotional strain of being on the bottom, having to fight your way to every single day, that she was also wearing mentally, emotionally, physically as well, that goes into those wins being even more impressive. I love a flashback, famously. And I think that anytime a Survivor player shows us that they're a fan of the game and that they love the game and that they, like you said, know their history, it makes you feel like, yeah, this is a family. Like,
Yes.
yeah, these people love this show as much as I do. Yeah, I do remember when that happened. And I also think, I don't think she was thinking about this, but I do think the editors were, when they did it, I think they were allowing us to connect emotionally and look at Rachel like we looked at those 3 women and be like, oh man, those 3 women were badass. Immediately you're thinking, oh, well, Rachel is too. You put her in that same bucket. So I think that there was some strategic production from that. Not that it wasn't warranted. I just think that I loved it. So yeah.
I loved it too. I'm just waiting for the day that somebody reference me and I can get a flashback. Just, that would make my day. However, I'm not to my second emotional point yet, but I do just also want to say that, I was talking to someone at one of our parties and they were like, oh, you're old school, Bryce. I said, don't you disrespect your grandmother's mother like that. I am not old school. I am considered new school. So we can be clear. There are 47 seasons of Survivor. I want to say that 1 through 25 is considered old school. 26 through 40 is considered new school. And now we're in the new era, just so we can clear that up to somebody. However, I really do love the new era, because I think that our diversity initiative that we helped spearhead really has been shining. And when I got to thinking a little bit, like, there's been such a long time in Survivor where there have been a man winner. Then we get a woman winner. For us to have 3 seasons, and 3 great seasons, in my opinion, back to back, and to have a D, to have a Kenzie, and to have a Rachel winners back to back, it just really makes me love the new era. And I think that, like, I just love it.
I think I'm sorry to cut you off. I think Tegwith might have came to us last night and said it's like a renaissance. This like new, I guess the new era is kind of like a Survivor renaissance. And we're getting like a different style of winner. We're getting a lot of women winners. It's great to see. And like, I think it's great for them to celebrate, like, especially a Rachel, she played a tough game, like a great game, and won all them challenges. And for them to compare her to like a Kim Spradlin, like, reminding us that we just saw someone that should be on that echelon of game. I think I think the new era is really cool because we've seen so many different new winners, to your point.
I agree.
How much of us having 3 winners in a row do you think is indicative of the social climate? Because I would say that Survivor does tend to be this kind of look into what's going on in the real world, right? That's the whole idea of the game. And so I would say historically, women are viewed as providers, we're viewed as nurturers, we have been viewed as softer than men. So when we take on a role that is more masculine, my earphones falling out. When we take on a role that's more masculine, it can be viewed as a threat, not as something that is praised, and could be why women in the past may have played a similar game to women now, but have not gotten the reaction that we may have, looking back on it, thought they deserved. Versus now, we have women who maybe are taking on that kind of, I'm going to attack this game. I'm not going to sit back. Not that, women do, but just in general, they're going to play that more aggressive game, and they are rewarded for it.
I think that that's a very good comment. I also think that equity comes into play, right? I think that when you look at past seasons, you have to think of the different makeups of the different people that have played the game. And I think that now that we get a more diverse season, with diversity comes different things of people's backgrounds and people's values and how people see other people. And I think that that plays a huge part into where we are today and why we are seeing more women winners, because it's when you cast the same, you get similar results. But when you cast different people with different value system, different classes, different everything, it's not the standard belief of what people think society is.
Yeah, Bryce, you're right, and you'll have different outcomes. With different inputs come different outcomes. And what I thought was really cool this season, and like, I guess we're in the era where you could see these like badass women competing and getting respect for playing hard games. Like when I think of a badass female player, I think of like Sarah Lacina. She was like so strong, so tough, so harsh. Like, she is one of the GOATs, of course. And this season we saw Genevieve and we saw Rachel, and these were like the 2 strongest players on the island. And I'm like, man, I would love to see both of them at the end. But just watching these 2 women, and like, that are the strongest players on the island, but then also how I think we watched Genevieve babysitting Rachel while she was looking for an idol, or vice versa, or something like that. And now that we're watching these 2 unique players do it, it's different than a Rome and a Saul, because like, Rome was almost like bullying Saul. But in this case, watching 2 women do it is a little different, because it's like they're almost joking with each other. They have this mutual respect for each other, but they're the best players and the, like, I guess, like, the most vicious players remaining in the game. And I think for the edit to portray it that way, I think it's good. I think it's pretty progressive, because now we're seeing and we're giving flowers to these women who, like you said, historically, it's like, they should have a different role in the game or should play a softer game or whatever. No, this is Survivor. Everyone should compete hard. And whether you're a woman or a man competing hard, you should be able, you should just be judged for how you're competing. So I like the direction of the game, and I like that women can go out there and unapologetically just play hard and get rewarded for that, as opposed to looked at as whatever kind of a woman,
Something that I'm really curious to see as we go forward is how, right, I think the new modern archetype of the winner of Survivor has shifted, right? I mean, 5 of the 7 new era winners have been women. I'd say 4 of those played a very sort of a little bit more stealthy, social, strategic game. Whereas in the 30s, we had a string of winners. It was Ben, Wendell, Nick, Chris, Tommy, kind of a similar archetype, right? And so now I feel like we see maybe like someone like Sam, who might not be doing it, like at certain points post merge, wasn't in the driver's seat yet, was still seen as a threat. I think sort of as a after effect of that sort of string of winners. So now it's like when you have a
Do you think Sam is being punished for that?
I don't think punished, but I think
Subconsciously?
people subconsciously view, like, think about historically a big sort of charismatic alpha guy is the kind of win Survivor. But now it's like, okay, you look at the string of like Dee, Kenzie, Rachel. Now if I go out there, I'm not going to be scared of a Sam. I'm going to be scared of like that really sharp, intelligent, lower key sort of woman. So I wonder going forward, if are people now going to view that archetype and be like, that's the biggest threat? And then maybe we're back in a world where like the brawny guys are like,
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
No, that's what I meant.
Or will we be in a world where the gays take over, right? Because can we get some gay back-to-back winners? And that's a great point, Jack. But it also brings me to my next emotional point that I just want to bring up. I want to talk about Teenie for a second, right? Because I feel like Teenie has been y'all the way y'all been treating Teenie on the internet. F y'all, because one, Teenie's
has it been bad?
Like I just feel like I think people went from loving
Teenie was so like lovable.
They're amazing, yeah. And I also feel like maybe people haven't understood their ending, right? And I think that like they don't agree with some of like Teenie's takes, but I have to say that Teenie being a member of the LGBTQ plus community, someone that is, like we said earlier, Lauren, they're young, they're still growing, they're figuring out their identity, they're a baby in my eyes, right? And me as a still very young gay Black man that has had to figure out my identity in this world and my place, right? Teenie that's on their own journey of figuring out their identity and being out there with someone that might trigger you personally.
The self-awareness to be able to say that,
right? It hits.
I was just so impressed, and I met Teenie last night. Just immediately, exactly the way that they are portrayed on screen is just exactly how they were towards me. Just so loving, so open. But to be able to say that with to be able to articulate that concisely, so authentically on whatever day it was, at 23, so freaking impressive, regardless of anything else that happened on the show, I think.
I couldn't agree more. And it's like, for me, I just love it. And just seeing that be a part of Survivor that I know can affect so many other people's life. I just love it. And I know that the diehard survivors are, I don't understand why they don't like a Sam and but that is Teenie's lived experience. And I appreciate Teenie for being so open and honest. And I appreciate the editors for sharing that, because I felt like I can't relate. However, I can relate in my own situation and my own life. And it was really good to see that on Survivor. So much love to Teenie.
The part where they said he was the guy that was asked to move the desks, and I always wanted to do that. The storytelling there, the visual there, just I was so impressed with them in this episode because of the self-awareness and because of the authenticity and the vulnerability. I was like, oh my, yeah, he probably was asked to move the desks. We should ask other people to move the desks now. Like, what the heck? It makes you rally behind them.
It really does, because it's like, don't ask me, okay? I don't want to move the desk.
I personally don't want to have to do any physical labor, but like, if you want to, I'm here for you. You do that.
And so I just feel like that wasn't, sometimes people don't focus on things like that, and that might have been very small to someone else. But I think that was huge for our community and at large. And so I was just very appreciative to have a Teenie storyline. And although I might not agree with all their moves, I think for me, putting myself in their place, I'm like, I get you and I see you.
Yeah. I mean, just in general, it was very, like you guys said, the self-awareness to just be like, maybe I'm not having a great relationship with this person, but it's all these things from my past that are maybe influencing that. It's not their fault, but it's just like things I need to work on. I think anyone can relate to that of just in their own personal life of being self-aware and using that in your relationship. So that was very impressive. And yeah, the analogy with the desk was also hilarious. I'm like, we just need to get Teeny like a construction job and just let Teeny like go swing a sledgehammer and
Move as many desks as you want.
yeah, I think everybody wins. Like Teeny will be happy and some houses will get built.
Yes. But ultimately, and I guess here's another thing. Shout out to Sue, right? I think that Sue played a great game, right? Maybe it wasn't a winning game. And I've said this multiple times on this podcast that like in the Survivor community, we place too much emphasis on the winner, right? Like, because that's all that matters. Sometimes on the season, all you talk about is the winner. But I personally feel like
we should never talk about the winners.
I don't know. Because
the people voted out on day 9 and the people voted out May 5th should probably be talked about more. I mean, I don't know.
Because Dominic Abate isn't talked about enough for me, but that's just, whatever. However, I really do feel that like sometimes the third.
No, and actually, I take back ever saying that I feel bad because you literally have an entire montage of your face behind you. I don't feel bad. I will legitimately pile this on as much as I want.
Like he's so
well, I mean, here's the thing: you're ragging on Wendell, but we all know he was rooting for his wifey Sue to take home the $1 million. So if there's anyone who's more upset, it's Wendell.
And so I just want to say, if you make it to the end, you make it to the merge, like in some people's eyes, that is winning. And I feel like Sue played a loyal game. Sue, you crossed Sue, she hated you, and she was going to do her best to get you out. And I respect stuff like that because it's like you got one time with me.
Well, here's the thing: when Sue comes back for 50, everyone's going to know how loyal Sue is, and that's going to allow Sue to actually mix it up a little bit more and take home the $2 million. So,
Jack, the real question is, when Sue comes back for 50 and they do the loved ones visit,
will Wendell be there too?
Wendell, are you going out for the loved one visit with Sue?
We already had that conversation.
They don't do the loved ones visit anymore, though, right?
They're going to do it for 50.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
All right. So how long do I got to start dating someone on 50? I'm trying to make an appearance.
Jack, you're single, right?
I don't think I'm going to be on 50, though.
They said fans versus favorites.
We'll see. Guys, what do we think about Sue's final tribal council? I mean, she was dropping bombs left and right. It was her birthday and she's 59. How did she
told me, if she had told me it was her birthday and I was on that jury, I would have given her my vote. I love a birthday.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I think I was, if I'm being honest, because I try to keep it real on the Survivor News Purple Pants podcast, I was shocked to see Caroline didn't vote for Rachel. I just knew Caroline would vote for Rachel.
Wait, Caroline
for Sue?
You did.
I mean for Sue. Sorry.
Oh, okay,
Sue.
I was like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I just knew Caroline would vote for Sue. That shocked me a little bit.
So how much do you really think that loyalty is valued by the jury at the end of the day?
It's true.
That's
because I don't know. I haven't fleshed it out in my head exactly how I feel about it, but I think that you will get more respect for making the big move that that turns against your alliance versus staying with your alliance at your own demise.
Yeah.
Whether or not you're sitting at the end or not.
True.
Do you vote
unless you get a really special jury? I don't know.
Do you vote for the best player, the player who played the best game, or do you vote for your friend?
You get to vote for whoever you want.
Exactly. That was my dilemma on Winners at War. I was like, Michelle is sitting right there and she's my friend. Tony is the best sitting there. And then like with the whole discourse on like the edge of extinction, and then back at Ponderosa, like people weren't completely sharing who they were voting for. And I had my little crew. We were ready to vote for Michelle to make sure she got second. And then
you didn't know if Natalie might have won.
Tony to lose. So I'm like, I gotta vote for Tony because he is.
Did you vote for Tony?
Yeah, I was like, and I think in my voting confessional, I wrote his name down, and I said, hey, Michelle, if you weren't sitting next to Tony right now, you would have my vote.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's sort of like it's sort of like American politics where you might want to vote for a third party candidate, but you're like, well, they might not be able to win. So I got to make sure my vote counts.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but to that point, part of me, I wonder, it seems like Kyle maybe voted for Sam just to spite Sue and make sure she was third and not second. So Kyle, big revenge from Kyle.
Do you think the majority of jurors vote for the best player? Actually, I have a different take on that. How much of the jury's vote or a juror's vote do you think is based on their personal experience and who they feel like's game qualifies their own the best? And the reason I say that is from my season. I think that in order for my jurors to have voted for Gavin, they would have felt, and I'm not saying this is true or not, but I think it's possible that if they had voted for Gavin, who had never been on the edge of extinction, that it would have invalidated their entire game, because they would have been saying, regardless of what Chris has done, he did not play the game. Whatever you want to say, he did not play the game, and therefore, in turn, they didn't play the game either.
Yeah,
agree. Yeah, because if when Chris gets back and he does everything right from that point on, if you were on the edge of extinction and then don't vote for him, then you're sort of saying, well, if I had come back and done everything right, then I wouldn't win either.
It doesn't matter because
your case is very unique, but I do.
No, I know, but I think that it applies to a lot of seasons as well. Is that you're sitting there as a juror whose ever game resonates with you the most, and I think that oftentimes is based on your own personal experience and your own personal values. Like if someone was sitting on the jurors who was like, I was loyal to my alliance till the death, I would have died for my alliance, I think they would have valued Sue's final tribal council speech. I think that there's a possibility, I'm not saying all the time, but there's a possibility that you take your own personal biases, your own value of what you think matters the most in order to maybe subconsciously validate your own game.
Most definitely.
Do you think if when you get voted off, you're sequestered like we were sequestered in the beginning of the season, and we only sat at, like, we could see the tribals, but we were sequestered and we only got to speak at that final tribal council? Do you think that a lot of winners would be different?
I don't necessarily know if the winners would be different, but I do think there would be a much wider spread of votes, like much fewer near unanimous votes, right? Because I think there's a lot of groupthink that occurs at Ponderosa. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, because you're listening to other people's arguments as to why, so who should win, and you're taking other opinions into account, and then people sort of start to come to a consensus. But at the same time, it sort of is like I'm sure a lot of jurors still kind of have their mind in the game, almost of like, I want to be in the majority here, right? Like I think there's almost a stigma of like, if I don't vote for the winner, I'm going to look like I made a wrong decision. When in reality, it's like, just vote for who you ever want to. That's kind of like, I respect like James Jones, for instance, voted for Cassidy. Cassidy should have won, and like he wasn't in the majority, but he had his own criteria and stuck to it.
Last Lauren question. Do you think that the jurors, first of all, shout out to Lauren, because now you got me thinking all these crazy, like, I love this. Do y'all think, I've never really thought about this, like in that same topic of being on the right side of the votes, do you think jurors think that way too, even with their final vote?
Well, how much conversation was happening for you, Wendell, during Winners at War? For like before your final vote, how much were the jurors talking to each other? Because in order to answer your question, Bryce, I think, and I feel like I can't give a full answer because my jurors were hanging out together on Edge of Extinction for 30 days or whatever it was, and then I was only there for a day.
So you was only there for a day? I was only there for a day.
How do you know? How day and a half, 2 days.
How long was? Because that's a great question. I'm trying to figure out. But how long was Wendell? How long was he there with them? No, because I'm just trying.
I don't know. When he got there, he was $1 million richer than me, though. So.
Okay. Now let me.
Oh shoot! Now I'm seeing the montage behind his head. I take it back.
Okay, so it's crazy because I got there to the edge of Extinction with these beautiful people. I got there after the merge, and that's crazy because Bryce doesn't even know what a merge is. But so after the merge, I went to the edge of Extinction. I was there
How
for
was
like
that? I've never been there.
yeah.
You pulled a picture of yourself off your wall. You knew it was coming.
So after the merge, I got to the edge of Extinction. I was there for like 2 weeks, and that was me on an island for like 2 weeks. It's crazy because Bryce wasn't even on the island for 2 weeks. So I was on the edge of Extinction for longer than he was even on the island. And
I was riding elephant's back in the Philippines. Okay, I was drinking margaritas in Manila. Okay, I was enjoying myself.
I'm gonna be so honest. I forgot that you guys had Edge of Extinction on your season. So maybe my question isn't as valid as it would have been.
Yeah, on Winners at War, we were on the edge until like 3 days before the end of the game. And so when we got back to Ponderosa, there were some talks, but then like again, a lot of these damn winners, they wouldn't share, like certain people wouldn't share stuff. And so now it's just like, all right, you guys got I don't know if y'all got side deals or what y'all got, but
yeah.
Were you trying to get stuff out of people though?
I mean, my roommates are Jeremy and Tyson.
And they weren't talking to you.
Wendell said, who do you guys think about voting for? And Jeremy said, don't worry about it, little bro.
They blame me.
It's the stuff that you reveal when you don't mean to reveal it. Oh my God.
Quick take on Winners at War, because it was a conversation that I had with a few people, because I feel like that there's a possibility that our jurors voted for Chris because they had the same experience that Chris did, right? So they saw Chris's game versus like, I didn't vote for Chris, I voted for Gavin because I saw Gavin's game, right? Not discrediting Chris's win whatsoever. It's just personally, that's what I saw. So we had the conversation on whether or not y'all would vote for Natalie. Because you saw her game, you experienced Edge of Extinction. And I think that the difference is that you all had played the game before and you knew what it took to actually get to day 39 or whatever, and how hard it is to mentally and emotionally and physically get up every day. I'm not saying I didn't experience the Edge, so I don't know, but in general, like you guys knew, you experienced it. You knew how hard it was to get to day 39 and you respected that just as much as you know, Natalie's freaking badass, right? Like so cool. But I think that there's a level of you guys having already played that you respected Tony's win and that ability to stay in the game.
Before he answers that, Lauren, though, because let's paint the picture, because maybe there is a reason why Wendell voted for the way that he did vote. In that win back challenge where Natalie won, who was she playing against?
I don't remember. Was it Wendell?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Natalie was the mayor of Edge of Extinction because she got there on day 1. She's building up this war chest of these things, and all these people. Edge of Extinction on Winners at War rewarded people that were voted there early, which means if you made it further in the game and you get sent to the Edge, you might not know that you're able to send stuff over and you're.
Did you get an idol when you came back in?
What's that?
Did they get an idol when they came back into the game?
I don't know.
Or they take that away?
Fire tokens to purchase an idol, was that a thing?
Yeah, there were all kinds of like. I thought the Edge of Extinction was like, you know, by the time I got there after the merge, I thought the Edge of Extinction was just like nothing. You know, you're just in purgatory. But in actuality, people that have been there since day 1 are finding things and getting this and developing this war chest that will then help them in the win back challenge or whatever.
Challenge too, right?
Yeah. So yeah, she had a few. I think I got one advantage. But anyway, in the win back challenge, Natalie won. She got back in.
to your point though, Lauren, I mean, this is more directed at Wendell, but I agree with you. Is like Natalie got what 4 jury votes, Michelle got none, even though Natalie was the first person voted out. I'm sure some of those votes were from people that were on the edge that felt like her experience validated theirs more than Michelle's did. And I think the reason that Tony won, that you said, is probably, I mean, not only did Tony play an awesome game, but like the jurors, having been winners, understood it more. But I think your question is very good compared to like Edge of Extinction, your season is like that same mentality, I'm sure, was a factor in Winners at War.
The Edge is so flawed because you're literally on another island jury tampering. It's like you are with the people that will award the $1 million. So yeah, they have the similar lived experience as you. Whoever gets back in the game is like their representative almost. And you could have been the sole provider, providing all the fish and making fire. You could just sit there and be super nice to them because you're not really playing the game there. You're just chilling.
Yeah.
But does that not then, knowing what you know now, right? Like, isn't that the point of the game though? Like, because then it's like, why would you send would that change who you send to the Edge of Extinction?
You got to know the Edge of Extinction exists.
Well, I feel like at Winners at War, didn't you knew going in, right? So that's what I'm saying. For Winners at War, like, don't you think that would then change who you send there for that reason?
But what do? Keep the people that you want out in the game and risk them never getting voted out?
Yeah, you want to get. So you
at least make it harder for them to sit at the end with you, don't you think?
True. I mean, also, but true.
Yeah, also, I mean, you guys are like, if you're on the Edge of Extinction with someone for 30 days and you don't even have to like be cutthroat, you could just sit there and bond. By the end of the 30 days, I'll be like, well, Chris is my boy now, so I'm going to vote for him to win $1 million. Like, I don't even know. Like, of course I'm going to vote for my boy. Yeah,
that's not true though. Because Wendell was out there with Tyson and Jeremy for how long? And they got back to
if Jeremy had been at the end, I bet you Wendell votes for it.
Well, I mean, that is true. But needless to say, shout out to our girl Rachel, because she did the damn thing. She played an amazing game. It's truly been such a fun season to watch her, to see her with her back against the wall, for her to make these game-changing moves, for her to do the things that she did. I just want to say congratulations to Rachel. It's been a fun season. Part of it being so fun is that we've had amazing characters to watch all season, i.e. Rome, i.e. Asia, i.e. Annika, i.e. Sierra, Saul, like so many. Like the season has been so amazing. And so for it to be Sue.
Okay, what?
Girl, you better talk about your girlfriend. You should go win mad when you go home.
Right now.
Clock that T, Lauren. But
fun. You should invite me more often.
Look, girl, always and forever. But any final words on the season?
Yeah, Bryce, before we go, not to keep us, I quickly want to ask each of you, where do you rank 47 in the new era, and where do you rank Rachel as a winner in the new era?
1 and 1. Well, actually, I don't know, because I ranked this season 1 because I think the season, for me personally, I loved it. However, amongst the winners, I rank Rachel amongst Jam, amongst D. Like, I think of Jam, D, Rachel. That's where I put her.
In that order?
No, they in a group together.
Now he asked what
I know what he asked. I gave him a group.
No, he said, what place do you put her in?
I put season 47 at the top, and I rank Rachel among winners like D and like Jam.
And what would you rank her among them?
She is in the top upper echelons. Because listen, I love Jam's win. I thought D's win was impressive. I thought Rachel's win was impressive. I didn't make the merge. So I can't speak on it. I didn't make the merge. so I can't speak on it.
My motto is underqualified over opinionated, baby. Go ahead. You can go right at it.
Listen,
Underqualified over opinionated.
I think Rachel played top tier. Like, I love Rachel. Like, I feel like if we were at an airport, I would have TSA. Rachel got global entry. Okay, she's above me. Rachel killed it. Like, I think okay. You want me to go on record? I think Rachel is one of the best winners of the new era.
That's what you just said. you just went on the record and said it.
Okay, so listen, let's play a game. We're in a room, Lauren and Jack. You're Tyson, Wendell, you're Jeremy, I'm Wendell. Okay, let's not talk no more. Okay.
You know what? I'll save you because what I'm about to say is going to make you look great. Of the full new era seasons that I have watched, which is 2, I rank her
top 2.
number 1 for sure.
What was the other season?
Oh,
sorry, you keep cutting out. I can't. Oh God, it's staticky. I can't hear you. No.
Y'all gonna let her slide? Oh, y'all gonna let her slide?
We've only seen 2 seasons. I guess so.
I said 2 full seasons. 2 full seasons.
Okay.
What was the
all
other
right,
season?
Jack?
What?
Here go Jack. Jack about to hate.
I was
about
about to give a
Here-
Bryce type of answer, but now I can't. So I'm gonna say 2 and 2.
Well, who's won?
Right.
I would say 45 and D are my one for me. I was gonna say 45, 46, 47, all very close for me. I think D is probably the best winner, but I would say I think Rachel's blueprint for her game is probably better than D's, but I think D just had a little bit of that extra like X factor that brought her to the win. Like her connections were just a little bit stronger with people.
Yeah, she had an alliance. She had a squad.
And Rachel didn't, and so that's why I'm like, I think Rachel, but I ain't mad though. But in order for D to have that type of squad, you had to build those type of relationships.
And that's what I was saying earlier. That's what I was saying earlier.
I think
what do you value more? The people that were in charge and had that strategy and were able to integrate themselves into relationships and alliances, or the person who was on the bottom and had to fight their way to the end. I'm not saying either is better than the other, but I think that's 2 different ways to play the game.
Jeremy, Lauren, and Tyson Jack, can y'all please speak to Wendell and ask him the same question? Thank you.
Oh, I can't wait. This is gonna be good.
Yeah, Wendell. So we've been letting you like hang out with us for a while. So we're just curious if you could tell us like where do you rank Rachel?
Mom told me I could only come on the podcast if I let you come with me.
Okay. Well, my other half is only on one of the seasons. So I'm going to have to say the greatest season of the new era is going to have to be season 47. And the greatest winner of the new era, I'll say the top 3 are going to have to be the same 3 that Bryce said. Rachel, Jam, and D are the top 3 winners.
Did you want to rank those, or because you were just yelling at Bryce for not ranking them, and now you're
okay. Yeah.
Okay, no, never mind. Ooh, I was about to be messy.
I don't have a take.
Say it.
Okay, so if you're
Okay. I will throw my computer.
Okay. Out of all of those 3 winners,
we're not live.
Who gets the covenant?
The what?
Who gets out of all of those 3 winners? Who gets the covenant?
Who's coming on your loved one's visit?
Survivor News winners bracelet. Out of those 3 winners.
Hey, Lauren, it was good seeing
I
you.
love this podcast.
It was good seeing you guys.
Awesome. Listen, this entire time since the second you brought it up, I was like, you could do the funniest thing right now. You have the opportunity to do the funniest thing.
Well,
That was so good.
There's
Wow,
another
bro.
fight ensuing.
Oh, that was so good.
This has been the Purple Pants podcast coverage of season 47. Thank y'all so much for watching. We love y'all. We'll be back next season. Lauren, you're amazing. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
Jack.
much for having me. This was so fun.
Hell of a season, hell of an episode.
We'll see y'all later.
Wow.
See you in the spring or early spring. Hold on.
That's so
He always comes crying back. I'll talk, no game.
He's just trying to look out for his new girl soon.
still got it.
Oh, that was funny.
It's been a great episode. It's been a great season. Lauren, thank you for joining us. Truly, Jack, Wendell, thank y'all for holding it down for the Survivor News crew. We are, what y'all say before, we're your favorite survivors, favorite podcast.
Yeah.
Jack, close it out. Close out to the Jack Army, Jack.
Thanks for rocking with us, guys. We'll see you.
The
Quick
Jack
off season.
Army?
We'll see you shortly. Hopefully, we'll get some off season
Is that a
content.
real
for you
thing?
too. You won't have to miss
Wait,
it.
hold on, wait, Jack.
Sorry.
Lauren
real
just asked
quick.
if the Jack Army is a real thing. Lauren, you don't know what the
called.
can of worms you just opened. Answer the question, Jack, before we go.
Did you make that up? Did you make that up?
No, you gotta
Did
just
you
check the
coin that?
comments. Check the comments. They arrived from me. So
Jack.
Jack.
Jack Army. I gotta go
Wow,
with something a little bit.
Really end the season with Lauren just questioning. That's tough. It's been
Wow.
real.
We'll be back next season. Thank you for watching. This has been your Purple Pants Podcast, Survivor News. We're out.
Coming back.
It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You better listen in public, might make your stomach hurt. Ooh. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to unwind, you better get that box wine. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to get your snack, you better hurry right back though. It's the Purple Pants. It's the Purple Pants.